Yo, what's good? It's your boy Genie Dot. In today's live stream, we're gonna get into the omniversal dream of creation. So you guys might see my eyes go up. That's because I do have a list of things I'm going to cover. So I don't want to get off track at any point. We're gonna talk about what is the omniverse, why is this a dream, who created this dream, how the dream was created, the different levels of the dream, which are the 12 planes of existence. We're going to talk a bit about how those 12 planes relate to different aspects of you, how those 12 planes relate to different aspects of creation, as well as the purpose of this dream, and a little bit on how to also navigate it. So, with that being said, let's get into today's topic. So, what is the omniverse? The word omniverse means all patterns of vibration. Omni means all, verse means a pattern of vibration. So the reason why this creation is called an omniverse is because creation is based upon different patterns of vibration, and the omniverse encapsulates all of these different patterns, right? I've learned about this through my out of body experiences. I've left my body and I've interacted with various different beings, and they have shown me different things about creation. And over time, I learned about these 12 planes of existence and about how this is all inside of this omniverse, right? And over time, I also learned how this is very much like a dream. In fact, it actually is a dream, right? So, why is this a dream? Well, what is a dream? How do you define a dream? To keep it simple, a dream is a projection of your consciousness. It's an outward expression of your consciousness. When you dream at nighttime, you are projecting your consciousness and you're having a certain experience with inside of your own consciousness. This creation is literally a projection of consciousness, hence why it is a dream. Now, there are certain rules, there's certain coding and programming to this dream, which is why we don't just fly when we think about flying, you know? I mean, even when it comes to your dreams at nighttime, people will become lucid and still don't have any control over their dream yet. There's different levels of lucidity. The more lucid you become inside this dream, the more crazy things you can actually begin doing, because there are humans out here. Like, if you go to the different masters in the far east, you know, these enlightened Buddhists, these enlightened Taoists, these Hindu masters, they're doing stuff like levitating, and they are taking their body and dematerializing it, right? They make their body non-physical and they make it physical again. They could teleport, walk through fire. They can do these things because they have essentially gained a certain mastery over themselves and over this dream, right? Now, real quick, when I mentioned the 12 planes, I am not referring to the 12 realms of the physical plane. Different people talk about how this physical plane has 12 realms. That's true, but there's other planes beyond the physical plane. And I'm talking about those 12 planes, the higher planes, right? So, now that we have covered the fact that this omniverse is essentially a dream because it is a projection of consciousness, a good question that somebody might ask is, well, if this is a dream, who made the dream? Who created this dream? Well, the creator of this dream, you could say, is source, the source of all creation, which is really just the highest aspect of you. So let's break down what source actually is, right? Source is not some being. Source is not some god in the sky who would, no, no. To truly understand source, you would have to experience source for yourself. Now understand that when it comes to source, I can try to describe it, and I'm going to do that, but all descriptions of source ultimately do not reveal the full truth about the source of all creation, because the source of all creation made all descriptions. That's like if I had a child and you tried to define me by my child. You can't define me by my child. All descriptions would be like the children of source. But well, here's what I can say. Source is that which transcends all things, right? Imagine that you have a giant mind. Now, source transcends the mind completely, but imagine that you had a giant mind, right? And that me, you, and everybody else watching this video right now, imagine that they are just different thoughts inside of this great mind, right? They are one with this mind, but they are also a thought inside this mind, right? Like when you have a thought, you can have different thoughts, they're all inside of one mind. You see what I'm saying? So it's like you as a character, like me as Genie, right? And then you, if your name is like Tyrone, that's like a certain thought inside of this great mind that at some point said, you know what? I want to project myself outwardly and experience myself as Jeannie or as Tyrone or as Sarah. And I want to experience myself as this character and I want to perceive myself also from different perspectives because every single person that you see is a part of this mind. You are one thought experiencing all of these other thoughts, but it's one mind, right? Source would be like that one mind, although source transcends the mind. Imagine also that you have an ocean, right? We are all drops inside that ocean. It's one ocean, but several different droplets. Source is that which transcends all things. And when Source projects this whole entire creation, it's just breaking itself off into different aspects of itself. That's why we are all one, because we all come from the same source. We are all the same source. And even inside that source, it's like we have our own sense of individuality. Because once again, inside of this one mind, you're like a thought inside of that mind. So you still know that, okay, I have this individual thought of myself, but I'm also connected with everybody else. I'm mentioning this because if you choose to, you can dissolve your individuality. But if you don't want to, you can actually keep it as well. You know, individuality isn't a bad thing. It only becomes a hindrance when people forget that as an individual, they're connected with everybody and everything. That's when the issue arises. That's when you start getting ego and stuff like that, right? Now, if you talk to like the different masters, in the East, these Buddhists, Taoists, Hindus, and stuff like that, they oftentimes dissolve their sense of individuality, but they're still aware that they have a character and that they use this character to interact with creation. And all of their practices, most of them like meditation and stuff like that, how it's practiced in the East, it was all done for the purpose of getting connected with the source of creation. You can experience it through meditation. You could leave your body and also remerge with source. I've done it before a couple of times. I felt it in meditation. I've done it through out of bodies. I've done this before. And when I experienced source, it's like I didn't see anything, not even black. I was just there. And I was just like one with everything. But even the concept of being one with everything wasn't even in my mind. I literally had no mind. I didn't see black, I didn't see white. I felt like I was everything and nothing. I felt expanded and contracted all at the same time. I had no concept of myself, to be honest, but it's like I still knew that I was there, and it felt like I was there for 2,000 years, but also 1 second at the same exact time because there was no time there. I just transcended everything, and I was just there. Like things really just like this. To try to describe source, it's just, to be honest. But imagine that you transcend all things. It might be hard to understand yourself, right? So because of that, you want to experience yourself in various different ways to gain a better understanding of yourself. I'm going to talk about that in a little bit as to what the purpose of this dream is, because it's all about experiencing yourself to get a better understanding of yourself. But I first want to get into how was this dream created. So I'm going to take you guys and girls for the women's, right? I'm going to take you guys through 12 different levels of creation, right? This is what makes the 12 planes. So at first you just have the source of all creation, right? It's just existing as itself. Now at some point that source manifests itself as pure awareness, right? That's the first stage. This is plane number 12, a pure awareness, right? I'm gonna get to that in a little bit though when I break down the planes, right? But first step, source manifests itself as pure awareness. Now, at some point, this awareness becomes aware of itself and sees nothing, right? So imagine that It's just there with its eyes closed, but it doesn't even realize that its eyes are closed. It's just chilling. Then it opens it. Then it's like it becomes awake with its eyes still closed. Wait, I only see black. There's nothing here. It's like, oh, there's nothing. That's what makes the void. The void is just this nothingness, but nothing is still something because it's this black void where you can still see black, but there's like no creation. All there is just what is perceiving the void, which is the awareness of source, right? Now, at some point, source becomes, or this awareness becomes a bit more aware, right? It becomes aware of its infinite potential to create. So now it's like if you have your eyes closed and you see all the black, like, hey, there's nothing, but I could create something. I could create anything, right? That is when this awareness becomes aware of its own infinite potential to create. At this point, it's like the void is pregnant with infinite potential. There's still no creation whatsoever, but with inside of this void space, the awareness understands that it has the infinite potential to create. And then it's like the void is being birthed, or it's like the void is getting pregnant with infinite potential. At some point, this infinite potential gets birthed, right? And this results in the manifestation of infinite chaos because infinity is inherently chaotic. There's no structure to infinity. Chaos doesn't mean bad. Chaos doesn't mean evil. It just means a lack of order. Sometimes you need chaos if the order that's currently established is not a good sense of order. You got to bring chaos to it, right? So chaos isn't a bad thing. It's just the lack of order. And when this awareness manifests its infinite potential to create, it's chaotic. It's just infinite chaos, right? So that's the second stage where you have that void, where you have the void that becomes pregnant with infinite potential, then gives birth to that infinite potential. Now that you have this infinite potential just manifested and is still technically manifesting because once again, it's infinite, right? At some point, different consciousnesses become aware of the part of infinity which they're inside of, and they form out of this chaos. Imagine that you have an infinite number line, right? You have an infinite number line. Numbers go on forever. And at some point, 1 through 10 are like, wait a minute, we are numbers 1 through 10. Let's form out of this chaos, right? Then you have 11 through 20. Oh, we're 11 through 20. Let's form out of this chaos. These are the different consciousnesses, right? These are the different consciousnesses that form out of this infinite chaos. You could call them primordials, right? These are primordial beings, primordial gods, right? And they begin to structure this chaos into a template of creation, which allows for the existence of order, because before there's no order, therefore there cannot be any stable creations. But these different consciousnesses form out of the chaos and they become aware of themselves and the different information from infinity which they hold. And all these different primordial consciousnesses put all their information together in order to eventually make a template for creation, right? So now this template is another level. So you had the first level of that pure awareness. Then you have the pure void that becomes pregnant with infinite potential and then manifested. Then you have the different consciousnesses that form out of that infinite chaos and begin to make the template. Now you actually have that template. And with inside of that template, those primordial consciousnesses begin to split themselves off into smaller consciousnesses who oversee this template and manage the creation and destruction of different realities based upon this template. Because now that you have an actual template for creation, now you can begin to have different kinds of creations that actually have a certain sense of order to them. Now, these different consciousnesses could be called supreme gods and overlords, right? That's just what I've seen out of my body. They're freaking huge. They're huge, and they look over this template and they say, okay, that can be created right now. We're gonna create that later. And then that's what supreme gods do. They're all about the creation, right? Overlords are about the destruction. Okay, now it's time for that reality to be destroyed. They're like the admins who actually determine what gets created, like what realities get created and what realities actually get destroyed, right? Bow. Now these same consciousnesses begin to split themselves off into even smaller ones that begin to actually do the work of the creation and the destruction of different realities, right? So first you had the beings that oversaw it. They're like, okay, we want to create that, destroy that. They said, okay, we want to create that. Let's split ourselves off and actually create that, right? Celestial gods and titans. That's what you might want to call these beings, right? You don't got to be too dead set on the names. That's just the names that I've came up with as I've encountered them. I was really getting into this like a year or two ago. Um, as far as that link about how to astral project, I do have a free playlist on my YouTube for astral projection. I do also offer a course, but I won't promote that right now. You guys go to my channel and find out more about that. But anyway, yeah. So now that you have these celestial gods and titans, right? I was interacting with them like a year or two ago heavily, and I actually I'll talk about this a little bit later about how I actually was training to fight against celestial gods and titans. And it's interesting. It's like a giant chess game to see who has more control over the reality. We could get into that a little bit more later for sure. But all right. So after you have those even smaller consciousnesses that essentially create and destroy different realities, right? They're pretty much like these eternal realms that always exist. Eventually, those big conscious or those they're not as big as a primordial, right? The celestial gods and titans, they'll split themselves off into individualized eternal energies which exist in their own personal reality. So this is where you get your eternal spirit from, right? At this point, you have your own eternal spirit. Right now, your eternal spirit literally exists inside of its own realm, inside of its own kingdom. When I say a realm, like I said before, I'm not talking about the 12 realms of the physical plane. By the word realm, it just means an area of experience, right? And inside of these realms, there's different dimensional spaces. There's different spaces inside of the realms where those spaces are composed of specific dimensions. Dimensions are not places, dimensions are measurements. The Google definition of a dimension is literally a measurable extent of some kind: length, width, height, time, space, light, sound, gravity. These are all dimensions, right? And these different dimensions can create different spaces with inside of your realm or inside of your kingdom. If we're talking about it as kingdoms, you have your own kingdom with different provinces, right? So your spirit exists in its own kingdom, right? And that kingdom was made by your oversoul. When I mentioned those celestial gods and titans, your oversoul can act as these beings, right? Because your oversoul is pretty much a group of eternal spirits. I have a friend, his name is King Cash. We are a part of the same oversoul. Imagine that I have my kingdom, he has his kingdom, but both of our kingdoms come together to form an empire. That's what your oversoul has. And your oversoul kind of makes the kingdom for you and everybody else in your oversoul. And really, you are the one inside the oversoul that made your kingdom. It's all you. It's not like it's some separate being. It's all you. It's literally always you. Even the primordials. You were a primordial. You formed out of infinite chaos as a group with other consciousnesses, and then you help to structure creation, and then you split yourself off into several different lower forms. Now that I'm saying lower, your spirit is still pretty high. You tap in with your spirit, you can do the craziest stuff ever. Anyway, so I'm at the point now where the celestial gods and titans can split themselves off into smaller consciousness, into individualized eternal energies that exist in their own personal reality, right? This is plane number 7. I'm gonna get to the planes more specifically, but right now I'm literally telling you guys how the planes got made. So maybe you guys could watch this live stream back when it's fully posted to fully get the understanding and clarity and stuff like that I'm really saying. But just follow with me. We're gonna clear it up towards the end anyway. So just follow your boy. I got you. Your brother got you. I'm your brother. I got you. You feel me? Anyway, so now that you have these different eternal energies, right, that exist in their own personal reality, these eternal energies are able to split off into what you might call an architectural spirit, which begins to create a template for a soul to come into existence, right? So you have a soul and a spirit. What is your soul? Your soul is an individualized focal point of awareness. It's literally the part of you that is observing this reality right here. It's the observer. Now, your soul can eventually take on a certain form. That is true. So do souls have forms? Souls have the forms that they make for themselves. Inherently, souls are technically formless. They're just a certain consciousness, but that consciousness can form a mind, which is a group of information, and then from this information, it makes a form for itself. So, with that being said, right, your soul, right, is observing this lifetime right here, but your soul comes from your spirit. Your spirit is the eternal energy and the eternal consciousness that can split itself off into smaller observers that can observe different points of time and space. So you have yourself in this life, but there could be another soul aspect of you that's in a whole different galaxy right now. That's a fact. And it's linked to the same eternal spirit. Your eternal spirit can split it because your eternal spirit is the accumulation of all your past, present, and future lifetimes, right? Your eternal spirit is what splits itself off into several different souls to gain different kinds of experiences. You see? So in order for a soul to come into existence, this eternal spirit needs to split off into an architectural spirit. That's the part of your spirit that makes your soul's template. What is your soul's template? Your soul's template contains information about, for example, why you're incarnating, different timelines you can experience. It also has your different samskaras or your different karmic impressions. What's a karmic impression such as samskara? What's karma? Karma means action, but it's not just a physical action. It's mental actions, emotional actions, and also physical actions, right? It's ways that you thought, felt, and acted inside of this life or other lifetimes, right? And your karma is what makes your inherent personality, right? You act how you act now because of how you acted in the past. And when I say the past, I don't just mean this past. I mean your past lives too. Now we can see this on Earth easily though. If you keep on, let's say as a kid, you fell in love with sweets. Because you fell in love with sweets, you are more likely to eat sweets. That's how karma works. You ate sweets one time, you enjoyed it. Now you eat sweets again, then you eat it again, then you eat it again. That's a simple example about how karma actually works. All right. So now that we got that down, your soul's template has different karmas from different past lives. It contains information from different soul aspects. I'll give you guys an example. With me, right, inside my soul's template, there's information from my Lyran lifetime. There's information from different dragon lifetimes, information from different Arcturian lifetimes, and so on and so forth, right? different information different information from different Phoenix lifetimes. All those karmas inside my soul's template. I act how I do now, partially because of Earth programming, but also because of the fact that I have different information from different past lives which currently flow through me. Your soul's template has all that. Facts. All right. So now that your architectural spirit creates a template for the soul to exist, now you have another layer. Now you have souls being birthed who can either make their own creations, aka their own space-time constructs, or they can hop inside of a certain construct. So right now, you as a soul, instead of making your own space-time construct, you came into this one. Yeah. Now, let's just do a recap. The first level was source manifesting itself as pure awareness. Second level, that is where you have the void being impregnated with infinite potential and then manifesting that infinite potential, right? Which leads to infinite chaos. Number three, different consciousnesses, right? Primordials form out of that chaos and begin to make a template for creation. Number four, that template for creation is now made, and those primordials split themselves off into smaller consciousnesses in order to oversee the creation and destruction of different realities based upon this template. Cool. Number five. Those overseers, right? Those consciousnesses that oversee the template split themselves off into even smaller consciousnesses that actually do the work of creating and destroying different realities. Cool. Number six, right? That is when you actually have these consciousnesses splitting off once again into individualized eternal energies that exist inside of their own personal reality, right? Number seven, that's when you have that eternal energy splitting off into an architectural spirit to create a template for a soul to exist. Now we're at number eight, a soul being birthed who either makes their own creations, their own space-time constructs, or they hop into a different space-time construct. Now you have number nine, right? This is where information is actually encoded into these constructs, which tell the creations within inside of them how to manifest. So information is inside of these different creations, and the information instructs the creation as to how to manifest itself. It's like program. It's like the programming behind reality. It's the informational programming behind reality. That's what comes next. And for you, that's where you get your mind from, because your mind is the information. It's the programming that eventually makes your character, right? How you express yourself inside the world. That's a fact. All right. After that, this information takes on imagery that can now be seen and experienced in a visual form. At first, this information has no form to it. But now, inside of this next layer, it takes on an actual visual form. So, for example, inside of your mind, right? You could say, I'm going to look like a black man with dreads, with a beard and a mustache, and I'm going to be some kind of a brown skin, dark caramel color, right? That's just information, though. At some point, the information becomes this. Even with this picture, let's do this finger. Even with this picture behind me, I used AI to make that. Before you saw this picture, guess what? It was only words. I typed out certain words. Make a picture that looks like X, Y, and Z with the blue and the red flame and da, 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 da. It was all information. At some point, it took on a visual form, but this visual form is not physical. You see this, right? Oh, a little bit of lag. I'll be good now. You feel me? This image that you see right here is not physical. You feel me? So the information takes on imagery that can now be seen and experienced in a visual form, but that visual form is not yet physical. That's why you need this next layer. The information, that's if it wants to become physical, because sometimes certain creations stop here. They just have the visual form and that's it. But if you want to take it a bit lower, you need this next layer where information can move through ether, so that way, like like when I say information, I mean like the imagery itself, not just the words, but like the actual image itself has to move through the ether, so that way it can become a physical creation made of physical matter. Then the last layer is where you have the physical manifestation of the creation, right? And now it can be experienced in a physical way. A great example. Much love to you too, bro. I appreciate you for watching. Um, so a good example that I literally thought about while making a pitch on video today, bro, it was so fire. So you see this image, right? Once again, it's not physical, but I could make it physical if I print that John out, right? So when I print it out, the printer's like the etheric, like the part where the visual image moves through ether, that's the etheric plane, right? The printer's like the etheric plane. The image the image is sent to the printer, and then this printer will turn that image into tiny points of ink, and then it puts that ink on a physical paper. Then you print it out and get the physical image, right? The etheric plane essentially turns that image into different life force energy that eventually becomes physical particles and physical matter. The prince is the etheric plane. The image is taking on life force energy, aka is taking on ink. It becomes just different points of ink that's put on a piece of paper. Now you have the physical image, right? So what I just mentioned, right? These are the 12 planes of the omniverse, right? So specifically, you have the physical plane, right? That's where we are right now, right? You have the etheric plane. That's where images move through ether to become physical matter, right? You have the astral plane. That's where you actually have those visual imagery forms that are not physical, right? The astral plane is all about imagery. You have the mental or akashic plane. That's where you have the different information that encodes reality, right? That's where you have the programming of reality, the information that literally codes reality, right? Fifth plane, that's the spiritual plane. That's where souls exist at, right? That either make their own creations or decide to dive into other creations, right? You have the sixth plane, that's the architectural plane, right? That's where your architectural spirit is. Now, in a grand scheme, it's the architects of creations. They make different timelines for different space-time constructs. Seventh plane, that's the eternal plane. That is where your eternal spirit exists, that and it actually lives inside of its own realm, inside of its own kingdom. Eighth plane, celestial plane. That's where you have the different celestial gods that make these different realms and realities, right? They pretty much make these different realms and realities on plane number seven. So, like I said, your eternal spirit exists in its own kingdom that was given to it by the oversoul. But there's also other realms and other kingdoms inside the seventh plane that's not owned by one eternal spirit. Different eternal spirits kind of just go there to experience it and have fun inside them, right? And certain constructs, certain space-time constructs are based on these higher realms and kingdoms. That's a fact. I mean, shoot, this current Earth construct is literally a model of the whole entire omniverse. That's why this construct has those 12 realms, those 12 subplanes. Then you have the 12 higher planes. This construct is literally modeled after the whole entire omniverse. And different galaxies inside this construct come from information that is outside of this construct and taken from different realms and realities beyond this construct. That's a fact, right? Not saying because all like when you go to the galaxies, right? You technically stay inside the construct, just different like different realms in the construct, right? But the in like so stars for like because galaxies are a group of stars, right? Stars come from light that's outside of the firmament and then shines into the creation, and then that light forms right as a physical star, right? But the information came from the light outside of it. So the light outside of it is pretty much certain information that's from outside of this construct that eventually gets added to this construct. Now, when I say firmament, right? Do I think that the earth is flat? You feel me? It depends on how you're looking at it. You see, when you are inside of this creation, there are planets and there are stars and all that because this universe, from what I have seen, is essentially a holographic projection. Now, what's a holograph? A holograph is a flat image that when light moves through it, it becomes three dimensional. The physical plane is a plane, right? Planes imply flatness. When you go outside of the physical plane, you can really see this as like a half, like people always say it's like a snow globe. It's pretty accurate. You see the plane with the firmament and light shining through it, right? But inside of here, things are three dimensional, right? Like I have left my body and I have been in space and I've seen the earth as a actual sphere and I've seen other planets. I've been to other planets, right? But that's just a holographic projection. When light moves through this physical plane, it projects this three-dimensional experience with planets and all that type of stuff, right? That's a fact. But planets are really just different worlds inside different dimensional spaces. We say that you have stars and planets, right? A star is just a dimensional space. A planet is just a world inside a dimensional space. You see? So planets are real, but they're also essentially illusions. They are projections of the physical plane. That's why you have people debating is Earth flat, is it not flat? It's technically both. Outside of here, it's gonna look flat because this is a plane of existence where light is shining through it. But when you are inside of the creation, you are inside of this holographic projection where light is moving through this physical plane and then projecting these two-dimensional images of planets and all that type of stuff, right? Cool. But yeah, back where I was at. So, like I said, plane number eight is the celestial plane. Celestial gods and titans. They make and destroy different realms of realities, right? Ninth plane, that is where you have the divine omniversal template. That is where you have the template for all creation. 10th plane, primordial plane. That is where you have the different primordials that actually form out of infinite chaos. 11th plane, that's the absolute plane. That is where the void is pregnant with infinite potential and then manifested as infinite chaos. 12th plane, the last plane, that is the transcendental plane, a plane of pure awareness, right? It's like a pure sea of awareness. And when you tap into that plane, you can transcend all of this and then reunify back to source. That's how this was made, right? Now, I do want to mention the inner planes. Inner planes are how the planes relate to you. So the first plane is the physical plane. For you, that's your body. You have your physical body, right? Then you have number two, your etheric body. This is pretty much where you get your life force energy, your emotions, your senses. That's all the etheric body. Three, the astral body. This deals with your actual visual form, your self image, your worldview, even your imagination, right? When you imagine things, you're tapping into astral imagery because it's all visual. And you can actually receive images through your imagination, but you didn't fantasize it. People who are clairvoyant are receive see your imagination. All your imagination is a part of your mind that turns information into imagery, into images. I can think the thought dog, 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 but my imagination turns that thought into the image of a dog. Now you can fantasize, but you could also just have an open mind, an open imagination where things just come to you, information comes to you, then you see what that information actually looks like. That's all astral body stuff, right? So the astral body deals with your visual form, your self-image, your worldview, imagination, how you see yourself, how you see the world, right? When you leave your body, people are essentially using the astral body, right? They are using this visual aspect of themselves to leave this body and then experience other information in a visual way. That's what the astral body. People say that your soul leaves your body. Well, if I pull up, I wish I would have pre-drawn this picture because now it's kind of choppy. I'm a don't have the marker. My girlfriend has it. You know, okay, the picture's kind of destroyed. It's okay. It's good enough. You feel me? But you see how right here. So these are planes 1 through 3, and that is tied to the body because the body, all of the body exists down here. All of these three planes are what you could say are the domain of the body. Then you have planes 5 through 3, right? The soul, the mind, the astral body. The astral body is a part of the domain of the soul. So your soul is leaving your body through the vehicle of the astral body. It's like if I were to drive somewhere, right? I can go to California through the vehicle of a car. You see, your soul leaves your body through the vehicle of the astral body because your soul is just your awareness. Your awareness is putting itself inside the astral body, then projecting itself out of the physical body. That's a fact. All right. So that's number 3, your astral body. Number 4, that's your mind, right? Your thoughts, ideas, beliefs, right? Number 5, that's your soul, the individualized focal point of awareness. Number 6, that's your architectural spirit and your soul's template, right? Number 7, your eternal spirit. Number 8, that's your oversoul, right? That's it. That is a group of eternal spirits. Imagine that you have a family, right? And all your guys' last name is Henderson, right? You have you, your mom, your dad, brother, sister, but you guys are all Hendersons. Henderson is the oversoul. And then all of you are the different eternal spirits in the oversoul. I'm saying it like this because appreciate you too, bro. I'm saying it like, or bro, wait, I can't tell if you're a boy or a girl. I'm sorry. Hey. But the family, right, is Henderson. But everybody in that family is their own individual person. Now, the thing is, oversouls can choose to act as a collective where they don't have their own individual aspects. But a lot of people think that oversouls only operate as groups. But you can be in an oversoul and still have your own individuality. Henderson family, different people in the family. Everybody in the family says, yeah, I'm a Henderson, but I have my own personality and stuff like that, right? Same with the whole empire kingdom. Your oversoul is like an empire, right? Your eternal spirit has its own kingdom. So the empire is a group of kingdoms, but it's still separate individual kingdoms. That's a fact. Cool. Everything I'm gonna say, that's a fact. Dab. Dab. Do it dab with me. Dab. Dab. We feeling good tonight. You feel me? Well, it's nighttime for me. It might not be nighttime for y'all, depending on where you are, but dab. Hey, dab, right? Okay. So next, number nine, right? How many fingers you nine, right? Your boy can't count. What am I talking about? Let me stop. Now, real talk though. All seriousness, let's get back into Genie Dot mode, right? Boom. Number nine. That's your oversoul's template. So remember how I mentioned that there is a template to creation? Your oversoul's template is pretty much the parts of the divine omniversal template that your oversoul manifested out of. You see? Okay, boom. Number 10, that is the omnisoul. This is your primordial self that formed out of infinite chaos. Number 11, that's your oversoul's, that's your omnisoul's template. That is the part of infinity which you formed out of. Then above that is your transcendental awareness. Above that, you get to source, right? Cool. All right. So now you guys understand how this was all built, right? Give you guys some real, this is low key some exclusive knowledge right here. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. You feel me? So, I'm giving it out. You feel me? I'll propagate this light. Shout out to him. You feel me? We lit in here. Hey, but so next, what is the purpose of this dream? Right? Source transcends all things. Source wanted to understand itself by experiencing itself. You are that source. Right now in this lifetime, you're just one perspective of source. You wanted to be this perspective of source and experience all these other perspectives of source. You wanted to do that. That's the whole purpose of this, to gain experience of who you are through experiencing yourself through different perspectives. It's really that simple. Wait, oh, that's a dream. Oh, wait, at nighttime when you dream, you have your dream character, and then all the other people in your dream, they're just projections of you. It's a dream. This dream does have rules, right? And it's not just only it's a collective dream, right? You are just one dreamer inside of a collective dream. We are all dream sharing, and this dream has certain rules. So that's why certain things like trying to be healthy still matter. You might say, I'm dreaming, so it doesn't matter at all. If you eat like poop your whole entire life, bro, you're going to end up being like poop. That's just one of the rules inside of this dream. This dream has programming. That's why you have to follow certain things, right? Now you can rise above. Can you please shed light on different aspects of the marine kingdom, sirens, and different beings that reside in the waters of this planet? I could talk about that a little bit because I haven't. So I know there's sirens and mermaids and stuff like that. I'm not sure what I know. There's like water fairies too, but a lot of my water planet experiences have been out of this off of this planet. I've encountered octopus beings, starfish, interdimensional beings. I've encountered squid beings. I've encountered beings in Sirius. They are heavily Sirius B. A lot of water planets there. Yeah, you have a lot of humanoid fish people, right? Um, so I can talk about that in a little bit for sure. Let me just wrap up this dream stuff, right? So the purpose is to experience yourself in various different forms. And there is points you can hit where you have a certain level of mastery over yourself and this reality. And now you begin to actually interface with the dream. Like those enlightened monks and those enlightened masters who could walk through fire, they just mastered themselves in the dream. You can do that, right? How do you do that? In simple terms, you get into with your soul and your spirit. Now there are different cultivation practices, different kinds of qigong and tai chi and energy refinement and working with prana and shit. There's all that. You're going to have to look for that. You look at some Taoist inner alchemy. I got you. If you look at some Taoist inner, there's all different kinds of techniques, right? You can also just leave your body and learn from masters out your body. Also, you feel me? Some of them are not always the nicest. You go to Shambhala, they're not always open to humans like that, to be honest. But like there are higher beings that have mastered this dream and then they can teach you how to navigate it and everything like that, right? You begin to navigate it properly by just first understanding that this is a dream and then understanding what experience you wanted inside the dream. Because as you allow your soul and your spirit, you naturally get insight as to why things happen how they do, how to align with higher realities for yourself inside this life, and then you start learning what actually creates certain things. Because your thoughts and emotions essentially are what create and align you. I'm really because when it comes to making reality, technically every single possibility is already made. You're just aligning with it. So it's like when you manifest something, are you actually creating the reality or are you just stepping into what already exists? It's like a co-creation process where you just align with it and then you bring it forth through yourself. The information already exists, but can you bring it through yourself and act upon it and make it for yourself, right? Your consciousness does dictate your reality. That's a fact. What you are aware of and what information you act upon really does create your reality, right? So you can also tap into like the different fields of creation, pull information from them, and then when you like, for like the Akashic records, right? That's like a field of information. You just pull from that, and then you act upon that, then you manifest certain things, or you move certain things through you and allow certain realities, right? But to keep it simple, right? The purpose of this dream is for source, which is you, to experience and interact with itself from individualized points of view, which gives source, aka yourself, different perspectives of itself. Every opinion that you have about yourself, others, and life is a perspective of source, since all you are experiencing is source in various different forms and expressions. Now, when I say source, people always like to think about this big giant God, right? Evil people are also aspects of source. They're just the part of source that forgot who they are. So source has potential to be evil when source forgets who it is. You right now, you have potential to be evil. If you forgot who you were and you stopped and you became a bad person, like you could become evil right now. I'm not saying that Source is evil. Source has the potential to become everything, and that's the point for Source to understand itself through all these different forms. Every opinion that you have about the world is an opinion of Source. Life sucks. Well, that means that Source can also suck at some point. When Source when Source decides to express itself in this kind of way, it can be perceived as sucking. But that's just by you. Someone else might see the same thing and say, this rocks. Source can also rock. Every perspective that you have about yourself, others in the world, is a perspective of source. And that perspective can sometimes be built out of ignorance. You're not fully aware of everything and you're only perceiving things from a limited point of view. But even then, that's a perspective of source when you're ignorant. You know? You see what I'm saying? Everything is source. Facts. When's the age of Aquarius? I'm gonna be real with you. I have no idea. I would assume that it's right now, to be honest. But I haven't like I've heard about that stuff, especially when I first came into this and like hearing new age stuff and there. I'm not saying it's not real. I'm just saying that I don't know. But I would people say it's right now, so I would maybe right now. You feel me? I don't fully know. Follow your eyes and send them out of the outcome and using the positive. Yeah, that's a fact. What this person just said, do that. You feel me? But yeah, I pretty much covered what I wanted to cover, right? About how this dream is created. So at this point, I will be looking at different questions and stuff like that. What's your opinion about that one trend back in 2021 where people were shifting to Hogwarts? That was happening? I mean, shoot. I will say this: there is places like Hogwarts for a fact. There's some beyond the ice wall, right? And there's also some just in different parts of the galaxy and the cosmos. But there is a place like Hogwarts that's outside the ice wall, which I really believe that a lot of these movies are just coming from, like Avatar with the blue people. The Navi are real people. They're real. Like a lot of these movies are just channeling different things, whether they know it or not. Shoot, uh, but I've never ever in my life played World of Warcraft or Dungeons and Dragons. But would you believe that a lot of stuff that they talk about is actually like Azeroth, which is World of Warcraft? That's a real place. Eberron, right? That's a real place, right? Eberron's from Dungeons and Dragons, I believe. It's a real, like I would just look like I would just go to places, look it up, and I'm like, oh, it's in a video game. Look, I might sound crazy, bro, but this is real, bro. This is real. But I do. What are water fairies? Right? Yes, you're dreaming right now. You're always dreaming. You know. That's a fact. What are water fairies? Water fairies are pretty much so. I because when people mention the fae, right, they just mean different nature spirits, right? It's starting to click now. Hey, shout out to my girl right there. That's my girl right there. Hey, love her so much. But anyway, water fairies are just different nature spirits that are composed of water energy. So there's technically different kinds of water fairies. Sometimes people consider sirens as like fae beings. You know, it just depends on how you want to look at it. But yeah, there's shoot, there's actually a water spot near my crib with like these. Well, there's two water spots. One of them has different water fade, bro, and they are a bit more pushy. It's like you go there to be pushed right into your trauma. People don't always notice it like that, but if you actually connect with the water, it's like, yeah, but let's bring up every single bad emotion. Every bad emotion, yeah, you're gonna face it. Come on, yeah, deal with it. They just do that with you. You know what I'm saying? How do you not get startled or scared when you encounter something that looks beyond anything you've seen before? Experience and practice. I would say first you just need to recognize your own power and that nothing can harm you. Like nothing can really harm you. You are God. You have authority over especially if it's like when it's like a being that also understands that they're God. It's like they don't have authority over you. You don't have authority over them, and they're not going to be mean to you. Mean, right? A holes, right? I don't want to curse, but they're not going to be mean to you, right? But lower beings that try to scare you, you have authority over them. They don't even know who they are. You're a god. You tell them what you make them bow down to you. That's a fact. That's how like I don't do this. Like I don't do this, but people literally can enslave demons and make them work for them. Now I don't do that. I don't operate like that. Well, if you ever read the Temple of Solomon, that's a real thing. And I know I've met people that have subjected demons and made them work for them. This is about knowing your power, bro. It might still startle you at some points. You know what I'm saying? You might be like, oh, what is that? Over time, you get used to it, especially as you just embody your own power. You know what I'm saying? So, yes, Darius Wright would say, nothing can harm me, the soul, unless you believe it to be so. And let's do, yeah, that's a fact. That's true. Yeah, that comment, yeah, my fault. I'm over here reading mad illiterate. Facts. That's true. Um, yeah. Let me see. What state are you in? You mean like in the United States? I'm down south. I ain't gonna say what state. There's about I live down south. You know what I'm saying? Down south on the East Coast. I just moved from New Jersey. Now I'm somewhere else. Um, there was one question I saw about 2030. Yeah, that one. Honestly, I don't know. Here's why I say that, right? I don't really do too many predictions of the future. Like I do look like I can see possible timelines, but when I was taught about time, because I'm very connected with time, and I've always was taught that futures are just different possibilities, and that instead of worrying about the future, you should focus on your present and do things to create the future that you want. I will say there might be ETs down here though. Hey, don't quote me though. There might be some ETs down here though. You feel me? Yeah, might be some ETs down here. Facts. Is it possible to destroy this realm when we leave the body and go after the? I mean, I guess anything's possible, but you're probably not going to do that. To even hit the point where you could destroy this, you wouldn't even want to anymore, right? And the creator of this realm force, no one's forcing you to suffer. If you and I hate because look, I really understand that Earth is hard. It's difficult, bro. It is, but no one's making you suffer. Suffering is really mental because even when you feel pain, right? Like I felt that. Now when I start saying, "Ow, oh my God, that hurts," now I'm suffering. But that's just a feeling. How do you think those Buddhist monks start walking on fire? They stopped suffering. They felt energy. They feel the heat, but they're not like, "Oh my God, this hurts." Ow. Suffering is mental. That's a fact. It's all inside of you. And most of the time, you're just suffering because limited perspective about yourself and your life and why things happen. It sucks to say like that, but if you study any like Buddhist practice or whatever, they tell you this also. But you can find this out yourself. You really can. That's a fact. Um, and the creators of this experience did not were the beings that make you suffer. The beings that want to make you suffer aren't even the ones that made this place. Those are just beings that essentially finesse people because they forgot who they were. People finesse you and make you forget who you are, make you forget your powers, and they try to torment you. I'm saying, bro, I sounded like the creator. Like, what are we talking about? That's what. But I can feel the pain though, because bro, life could be hard. Especially if you go like, bro, because people be out here getting like, I don't want to say nothing crazy, but y'all know what happens, bro. Y'all know I do want to shoot. If I went to some stuff, I want to kill. I mean, I want to unalive. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on now. I get it, bro. So I'm not even mad at the person. Do ETs look like us? Some of them do. A lot of them do look human. There's some that look just like me right now. When I have ET past us where I look just like this, but a little bit darker. That's a fact. Some of them don't look like us though. Some look crazy. That's a fact. Everything's a fact. Funny part is if you give your authority away to them without realizing, try to remember you can reclaim it. That's a fact. That's a fact. People talk about some selling your soul. You can't sell your soul. You just believe that you did it. Just stop believing that you did it. That's a fact. How can we tell the difference between an actual God and a trickster? All right. So in real, let me not say real life because everything's real and everything's fake. That's one thing too. Everything's fake and real. Because when I say a dream, people think, oh, if this is a dream, what's the real life? All creation is a dream. It's all consciousness being projected. That's a different topic though. I'll mention that a little bit later if you want me to. But anyway, how can we tell the difference? Imagine I do know ice giants. I'll talk about it in a little bit. So in real life right now, you can kind of tell when someone's lying to you. You can tell when somebody feels off, and that's just in your physical life, right? That's like heightened 10 times out of body. You could begin to ask me questions like, "Oh, are you love? Are you aligned with love and light? Who are you? Let me see your real form. Tell me your true intentions." You could. That's a good one. Tell me your true intentions. But you need to say that with a like. You can't be like, "Oh, tell me your true intentions," because no one's gonna take you serious. You gotta be like, "Tell me your true intentions before I get you the freak out of here." It's kind of like in the physical plane, right? Let's say there's like a very big, strong Hulk Hogan sized dude, right? And they're bullying you, and you say, "Leave me alone." There ain't no fear in their heart when you say, "Leave me alone." You feel scared right now, but right, but if that was like a super duper small weakling, and you said, "Boy, get out of here before I beat you up," they gonna say, "Oh, okay, I'm gonna leave you alone," because they feel that authority. They feel how you feel. So if you remember your authority out your body, and you say, "Tell me your true intentions." They're gonna and don't just try to make your like. Although I just changed my voice, don't act like you just changed your voice and then that's why they go no. You have to actually feel. You can say, "Tell me your true intentions." But if your authority is big within inside you, they're gonna have to tell you, or else just get them out of there. If they don't want to tell you, that kind of gives you your answer. That's a fact. Do I have experiences with entities that are called ice giants? Um, Yeah, I've encountered a lot of ice giants. I've encountered more godlike ice giants. I've encountered simple giant entities that like align with the element. Like it's kind of like they're like in like the whole nature spirit category, where like they're like made of ice and they're giants. You know what I'm saying? I've encountered ice giants. I saw Yahweh, aka Emily. He was so full of himself. Yahweh, yeah, Yahweh, yeah. Yo, y'all know how y'all know the main enemy inside the Bible, not Lucifer, but the guy with the S. That's Yahweh. Oops, oh, catch out the bag. Yeah, Satan's Yahweh, but yeah, that's a fact. Let's see what other questions we have. Let's see. Do you think the void will have other creations as well? The void implies no creation. So the void has no creations. There's no creation inside the void. The void is what eventually births the infinite potential because from nothing you get that something. The void has no creation. Um, how often are we shifting through timelines? Pretty much every single time you make a decision. Should I do this or that? You're at a timeline split. You're choosing a timeline. You see, when it comes to timelines, right, we experience them through our thoughts. Thoughts are linked to time. When you think about doing something, different timelines. The reason why people don't make dramatic shifts, though, is because they don't make dramatic shifts in their thinking. If you were to completely, like, let's say someone's not confident at all, if they became completely confident, their whole entire life would change. I'm about to do a petty example about a guy who gets no woman, right? Or women, right? Imagine that you have a guy who's been bullied all his life and was told that he's the loser. And now he feels like a loser. He's going to think loser thoughts, right? Now with these loser thoughts, he's going to act like a loser. And he has different options, right? Should I stay at home all day and cry? Should I go to the park and cry? Two different timelines, but they're very similar. You're just gonna cry and be a loser. If you became very confident, wait, I'm not a loser. I'm confident. I actually, I look good because I always think I look good, but I'm like, oh wait, I look good. Oh wait a minute, I could get some of your family. You know what I'm saying? So if that person were to change their whole perception, now they getting women, now they hanging out with all kinds of friends, now they going out more. They might even become a public speaker and make some money off them speaking. Whole timeline shift off of just your thoughts. It's all about your thoughts. Facts. Um, the mind creates times of constructs, time shifting is influenced by your mind. Makes sense. Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact. Too late for what? Sorry, I don't know what I said about too late. Was that me or somebody else who talked about? I don't know what you're. I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on with that. But let's see if we got some more questions popping up. This guy is good. I appreciate you. The loser thoughts be sneaking up on people, and we're gonna break that program. Yeah, that's a fact, bro. You're not a loser. You're not. Even if you took a loss, bro, you never really lost, bro. You just learned a lesson. Losses are not losses. They're just lessons. That's a fact. Mm, let's see. Any other questions? Let me see. What's that? The loser thought, John. Yeah. Oh, I did want to mention this because I do. How often do you do it live? I'm doing this for propagate this light his channel, bro. I'm gonna start going live more though. In fact, I do have a Discord. I'm gonna start doing classes there every like month, I think, Q&As and stuff like that. So be ready for that. Join the Discord. But I did want to talk about this real quick because I know that before coming on here, propagate this light, they want me to talk about this one experience with this water planet, right? It's a place called Karaya. So I did mention this on a Jeff Mara podcast. So I've experienced all different kinds of planets, right? I've explored a lot. You know what I'm saying? In fact, I'm about to start talking more about different places on Patreon because I'm like, yo, I have all these places. I don't really talk about them like that, right? But Karaya is one place I've been to. It's a water planet that is slavery. right? I'm gonna answer this is about being aware more than one time. I'm gonna answer in a little bit, but with this one planet, right? You go there and just like they make it seem like this nice little water resort and stuff like that. It's not. You go there and it's like there's a certain like kind of magic that's like in the water and in the atmosphere, you know? And you think that everything's all good and it makes you want to stay there forever, right? Over time though, it's like you might like because the way I saw it, like they had like different like water. I'll just say a water. Imagine like a water slide. Imagine something like that, for example. You know what I'm saying? It's not exactly that, but just imagine that. You go inside the water slide, you go down it, you end up in a cage, and they ship you off to other planets. I forgot there was one planet that was big with the slavery. And I forgot what it was called, like where they would ship you to. But like they would ship you over to different water planets and make you a slave that works for them. They've done stuff like that. That's one. That was a really interesting place. But have I ever been aware of more than one timeline? Most of us have. If you ever thought about making three different decisions, that was three different timelines. That's a fact. Oh, you ever physically interacted with more than one timeline at once? What does that mean? What do you mean by physically? Like, so, like, I'm trying to find out what you mean by that question. Maybe I'm just stupid, so I can't understand what you're trying to say. Like, what do you mean by physically and like touch two timelines? Like, what does that mean? Um, do I teach astral projection on Patreon? I have a course for astral projection. I have a whole course now on Patreon. I was doing like a little small series where like I was telling people how I was developing my own ability through the teachings of my course. But to learn from me with that, just go to my course. But if you're a spirit, how can they capture you? This okay, so I'm a tackle this from two angles. This planet was like a planet where like beings were like more physical, like physical beings, right? Like they had actual bodies, right? But I want to say this too. Imagine if I have an astral body, right? If I have an astral body, nobody can touch my astral body who's physical. But if somebody else has an astral body, now they can touch me. So if I have my astral body and another astral body, they can now touch each other. So that's how you can be in the astral and still be touched by a certain being if they are also made of the same matter as you. Physical beings can't touch you, you're too subtle for them. But if they're on the same level, you guys can touch each other. But the planet I mentioned was like an actual, like, this is like a, it's like just like physical alien stuff. Like these are like this ain't like only in the astral. This is like it's not like people in the astral getting captured. You know what I'm saying? This is like these are like beings that live on the planet getting captured. I think it's better now, to be honest. But when I went there, I was seeing past lives involved with that place. Facts. Um, yeah. Let's see. Can you get out of the water planet if you get stuck? Well, yeah. If you're in the astral, you'll be fine. You know what I'm saying? If you just like left your body with there, you'll be fine. But like back in past lives, it was hard to get out. I'm not gonna lie. They had a pretty good. Most people didn't even know. Like most people had no idea what was happening because like people go to the planet, they think it's like fun, and no one's coming out of the planet saying like, "Yo, they're trapping people here." You know, they would just kind of get stuck there and get enslaved and then get shipped off. You know, like these were like actual like physical ET beings, right? That were doing this type of stuff. Um, yeah, but so yeah, back in like, if you were like a physical being there, it might have been hard. They might have just grabbed you up and you was cooked. To be honest, over time though, like when I went there, like through out of bodies, I learned about my past lives there. And me and my boy King Cash actually had connection with the planet. We actually helped to stop the water slavery stuff. But there might like I know there's different times in history when it was still going on after we kind of helped it out. So it's like, yeah, you know. Um, why keep incarnating if the out of body slash soul experience is so infinite and interesting? That's the exact reason why. Understand that it's actually more normal for you to be an unlimited being. That's your normal state. That's the more normal thing. Being like this is not normal. That's what kind of makes it fun. It's like if you always been a god, it's kind of like, you know what, bro? I wonder what it's like to not be a god. I just kind of wonder. You know, I kind of wonder what it's like. You know what I mean? I can do anything I want to do. Yeah, I mean, why not just see what it's like to be limited? On top of that, some people do it for like a training. It's like, okay, I say I'm a god, but am I really a god if I can't become a god when I'm not a god? So what I mean is, it's like you can say you're unlimited, but let's put that to the test. Let's put limits on you, and then see if you can still become unlimited. You're all powerful. Okay, cool. Let's see you get that power back when you stop being powerful. And then once you do that, you're like, yo, I really am like that. Like, oh, I just came here, had every limitation, and I broke free. I am him. I am her. If you're a girl, you know what I'm saying? I'm that guy. I'm that girl. You feel me? It's like, come on now. You feel me? That's why we do stuff like that for sure. Um, let's see. Does an astral body possess all carbon life forms? Test asking. We mean by that. I'll just say this. Everybody has an astral body. Even technically, a rock has an astral body. If you leave your body, right, and then you see a rock, you're seeing the astral form of that rock. In order for something to have imagery to it, it needs to have an astral body. In order for something to have a visual form, it needs to have an astral body. Before I looked like this on earth, I looked like this because my soul made this form for myself and then it projected it in this physical body, right? That's how that kind of happened. And yes, your genes are influenced by your soul, not just by your parents. Oftentimes, the parents that you pick have some kind of connection with the soul DNA that you want to experience, quote unquote. Is the astral body the soul? Not exactly. The soul is the actual observer, right? It's the observer, it's the consciousness that is able to take on a visual form for itself. The astral body is your visual form. That's when your soul takes on a certain visual form, right? So your astral body is a projection of your soul. Am I frozen? Oh, all right. Because your soul technically your soul is a formless consciousness. You see what I'm saying? But it can take on a form via the astral body. Facts. Um, facts. Have you ever spoken to the deity Kali? I'm in the Caribbean. Hindu culture here is a bit different. I've seen idols that's green skin with the snake. Give them to the God. Okay, so Kali is not an actual being. You can now because people have worshipped Kali as an actual being. There are thought forms of Kali, but Kali is a symbolic personification of a certain kind of energy. For example, Scorpio, that zodiac sign, kind of saying the Kali energy. It's that destructive feminine energy, right? It's that energy that clears things to give birth to new things. Kali, when you work with that energy, you work with an energy inside of yourself to destroy the parts of yourself that are purely egotistical and do not align with the soul. Then it gives way to more experience of your true soul nature. Funny enough, before getting to where I am right now, back at my old crib, I was actually working with the energy of Kali, and that John destroyed everything that was not aligned. It destroyed everything, bro. Everything had to go, bro. Oh my gosh. It was crazy, yo. Um, and in Cree meditation the last 2 nights, and noticed that my breathing stopped to a point where it felt almost difficult to start breathing. Only lasted for about a minute before I forced the breath. That is a very wild experience. Not gonna lie. Um, so is that form also be called soul travel, or is it just called It's astral projection. You're projecting your astral body, right? So some people might call it soul projection, soul travel. Your soul is leaving the body through the vehicle of the astral body. Your soul is projecting out of your body through the astral body. Soul travel, astral projection, same thing. Really the same thing. What's your understanding on the significance of freckles and birthmarks? Sometimes it's just what they say on Earth. Other times it can also point to different. Like I know some people that have birthmarks that actually look like constellations because they've been there before. You know what I'm saying? So it just depends on the person. It can show you where you've been before, or it can just be what humans say it is. Has anybody ever experienced shape shifting into likings and different shadow beings, i.e., giant snake in the astral? It almost felt like something was taking over me and I was battling other beings. Wow. Um, I have experienced shape shifting before. I've done that before. Like I left my body to turn into a dragon version of myself. You can do that. Um, so that's the thing. Um, What are your opinions on magic and witchcraft? Um, it's real, you know. I don't think it's good or bad. Depends on how you use it. If you could use magic to manifest things that are positive. You can use magic to harm people. You can use magic to curse people. I don't do that evil stuff. I barely even use magic. Depending on how you define magic, because magic is really just using life force energy to get a certain result. So in that sense, we kind of do magic all the time, you know. But like all like the spells and the da, 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 you know what I'm saying? I don't really do all that. I don't have to. I'm not against it. I mean, shoot, I do be it. I've used magic in my life, and like it's not a bad or a good thing. It's just what you want to do, what you make of it. You know? Can you drop the source link in the chat, Genie Dot, of this live stream? You remember this live stream? I'll do. Let me see. Let see if I can do that for you. Mute this John, bro. Got it. Bow. All right. Cool. Does fornication make babies? Yeah, having intercourse and then the sperm going inside of the fertilizing the egg. Yeah, that's where babies come from. Although I have heard about people getting pregnant without having intercourse, so I don't know what that's about. Jeannie Dot, do you have experiences communing with the demiurge? She is not the same or same energy as the Christian entity God, by the way. Um, when you say the demiurge, right? Do you mean like Yada Bayoff, like that energy? Because it's more of a consciousness, not like a being per se. It's yeah, Yada Bayoff, Yahweh, and Satan are all the same. Facts. Let me see real quick. Because a demiurge just means a being that's responsible for the creation of the universe. So it's like when you say the demiurge, what demiurge are you talking about? You know? Um, yeah. Have you ever seen small gallium looking creatures? What does gallium mean? Look, I'm looking a bit stupid on live. Let me stop playing on myself, bro. Gallium. Let's see what that is. What do you think about Earth angels, celestials? That's real. They're oh, do you mean the element gallium? That's crazy. Um, but anyway, yeah, there's Earth angels. What like people you could have been an angel in a past life, a higher celestial being in a past life, and now you're here on Earth. That's a fact. I've actually been interacting with a lot of celestials. Some that are on Earth and some that are not on Earth, right? The alleged big parasite of the entire omniverse simulation. Okay, so demi-earths did not make no omniverse. That's not even omniverse is. So you're talking about like Gnostic teachings where like they mention Yah Bayoth making the physical world. I want to tell you real quick. So that demiurge didn't really make anything. It's just a consciousness that is giving you. It made the link isn't private for you. Really? Like my link is private because I have people on my live right now. What is? Huh? Interesting. Oh wait, did I send the wrong one? Let me try to send this on again real quick. My fault. But yeah, private chat. Ah, okay. Word. I see. Okay, my fault. All right, back to what I was saying though, right? When it comes to yeah, the demiurge made certain control structures, certain beliefs, ideologies, right? It didn't make this whole physical creation, nor did it make no omniverse. The omniverse is made by source, which is really the highest part of you. Facts. All right. So yeah, the demiurge is test of consciousness. It's the same as Yahweh, same as Satan, yada bel, all the same thing. I actually had somebody ask me this today, you know. So with that being said, yeah, it didn't make nothing. It didn't make this physical creation. It just made different control structures which keep you bound to physical creation. And in fact, the dimmer is literally a part of you. See, if you study Egyptian, yeah, the parasite. I feel, yeah. If you study the Egyptian teachings, they call that set. Set's a part of you. It's actually a part of us. It's literally just a consciousness, right? That several different people align themselves with. Like these different Satanists, they just align themselves with that and try to control the world via that consciousness of trying to keep people bound to physical creation and not know who they truly are. That's a fact. That's a fact. I want to learn. We learned that God sent us. Where'd you learn that? Several places. One, just reading the Bible. Um, Number two, set corresponds. Set also tests your ego too. Set is the part of your ego that keeps you bound to your character, and also chaos. Chaos is more of a pep though. A pep is more true chaos, but set can't be chaotic. Um, One, yeah, reading the Bible, it kind of became apparent. It kind of like was like a download, I guess. Um, Number two, there's a guy named Cave of Mystery. He said the same thing. I was like, yo, this is crazy. I was thinking the same exact thing. Number three, Gnostics. The Gnostics talk about it, but they call it Yada Bayoff. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Christ is not the son of Yahweh, by the way. That's not even, yeah, nah. That's why Yahweh's teachings and Christ's teachings are so different. Christ came to save you from Yahweh. That's why it doesn't mess with the law at all. The law keeps you bound. That's why Paul actually calls the law sin. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh, that was not supposed to happen. Yahweh didn't like that apparently. Let me stop. Yes, the Bible has God stuff as long as you know it was plain. Yeah. Um, Jinadai, what are the beings that fly the UFOs? Aliens. Aliens. What do you think about Carl Jung? Carl Jung was a great psychologist. I used to study Carl Jung a little bit. Can you share more of your take on Gnosticism? I haven't studied it like OD, but Gnosticism is pretty much a spiritual system that was created by people that recognized that there was a certain consciousness that kept them entrapped on earth in a way where they didn't know who they truly were. And through their religion, they give you certain teachings that are meant to make you more aware of who you actually are. Facts. Can you? Okay, so Yahweh is not God. That's why he's not the son of God. Because that's why he's not the son of Yahweh. Yahweh is not God. Yahweh is a God of many gods. Christ is more of the son of source. When Christ being the son of God is trying to say that he is coming directly from source. We are all Christ. We are all the children of source because we are source. That's what Christ being the son of God actually is. He's not the son of Yahweh at all. He's not. That's why he doesn't teach anything that Yahweh teaches at all. That's why he says, don't you know that you are gods? You are gods because you come from the true God, which is source, which is transcending any concept of what people think of as God. Have you done Kabbalah meditation? Yes, I have. Yes, I have. Pretty dope. Yahweh is the Cuban. He's messy. It's like him to do that. You can see him like that. Yahweh is a consciousness which the black cube has been used to harness. What does it mean when you come out of your body and you have a blue glow around your body? Yo, a lot of people have been saying this. You are seeing the essence of your etheric body. That's what it is. We see that blue energy out of your body. It's the etheric essence of your etheric body. That's a fact. What physical ascension symptoms have you experienced lately? Curious to see if I'm I haven't really been having. I mean, I have been having like different energy points open up, but that's because I've been doing very specific practices. Um, and I haven't really had any. That last night I did have a crazy meditation where like my pineal gland opened up and it felt like my whole entire head opened up, and it felt like a freaking cone of information was pouring into my head, and I got some crazy downloads. Um, yeah. Oh my God, I learned in Christian mysticism that Yahweh was just one is one. You're thinking about Elohim. Yeah. Yahweh is a part of the Elohim. Elohim means many gods. Elohim is multiple gods, not just Yahweh. Yahweh is part of the Elohim. Facts. Um, Jesus Christ, the actual person, was an ascended master, in my opinion, sent to align the mind. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true. That's true. Yahweh has multiple names, so that's why people think that. Yeah, Yahweh, Satan, Yada Bayoff. Yeah. Um, what do you think about the return of the divine feminine into the world? It's already here, brother. It's already here. I guess people when they say that they might mean like more people acting from that energy, which I guess that might be happening. I'm not sure. I just know that it's already here. The divine feminines are it's already here. What topics in the dream downloads did you get? Like last night, this is gonna be kind of hard to explain, but the fact that I'm not really here, like we're not here how we think that we're here. It relates to the dream, to be honest. You, so your spirit, for example, right, exists in its own kingdom, right? You're still in that kingdom, just projecting yourself through this vessel. You're not really here how you think that you're here. You're actually kind of, it's like you're here, but you're not here. It's hard to explain. I over time because I since that since that download last night, life has been kind of trippy, to be honest. I can see scripts so clear. Even right now, as I talk, it's like I'm watching myself talk. Because you're really all around yourself and beyond this plane, you're everywhere and nowhere at the same time. um, so is this well, God dang it, I can't read. So is what we are saying is that Jesus or some Jesus figure, yeah, facts. There's multiple different Christs. You could become one of those right now, but yeah, there was a real person like that. Um, yeah. Someone okay, where's that? Whenever I close my eyes, sometimes I see white light. What's that mean? It could be light entering into your like into like your field, like through your pineal, stuff like that. You could be there's also different things for that. I'll just say that you're probably just tapping into light coming inside your vessel right now, though. Do we live in the know? And is time, I think you mean the now. Do we live in the now? And is time and space a construct for experiencing linear time? Yeah, I mean, yeah, we live. I mean, most people don't live in the now. They live in the past or the future. What I mean is they're always thinking about something that happened to them or what's about to happen to them, right? Most people don't live in the now, but yeah, we are always in the now. And space and time is a construct. See, space is just an area. Time is just movement through that area. And then based upon how time moves, we say there's a past, present, and future. You have the movement that already happened, the movement you have the movement that already happened, that's the past. The movement which is already happening right now, that's the present. Then the movement that's going to happen in the future, that's the future, right? But all those events exist right now. You can tap into all those right now, right? Although the future is technically potentials, right? Um, Having trouble tapping into being the observer, can't separate from my thoughts fully. Any tips? practice meditation how I describe it on my YouTube. Actual meditation, not like because in the West we say everything's meditation. Oh, you're visualizing, that's meditation. Like, no, that's visualization. I'm breathing. Oh, I'm meditating. No, you're breathing. You're doing breath work. Oh, I'm saying affirmations and meditating. No, you're saying affirmations. You're not meditating. Meditation is the actual state where you become the observer. And there's certain things that you do to become, or there's certain things that you do to get into a meditative state, which is what I talk about when I mention it. Go to my YouTube, I talk about that. Facts. Yeah. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, when I asked the question about two timelines physically, I meant bilocation. I've not bilocated before. I have done it out of body where like I've split myself off into a fragment and then one part of me is over here and the other one's like in a different place. You know what I'm saying? I've done that before. Um, yeah. Cool. That's why prophecy is a head thing because prophecy hasn't collapsed yet. Yeah, prophecy, yeah, it's open to it's all about possibility and probability. Facts. Facts. Let's see what other questions we got. I met two mantis looking aliens dressed in brown clothes. You know anything about them? Yeah, I've encountered mantis beings. Some are in Orion, but they're not all from Orion, but some are from Orion. Um, some of them are really good with like etheric DNA, like manipulating etheric DNA. I don't fully understand it yet, to be honest, but yeah, I have encountered mantis beings for sure. So we can prophecy. I mean, yeah, see the word prophecy really just means to speak forth from God. Prophecy doesn't even mean to see the future. It just means to speak forth from God. So if you are tapping in with your spirit and you're speaking from your spirit, you're prophesizing. You're prophesying. To be honest, that's what. Actually, let's pull it up. I probably can't show y'all, but I'll just Google it for y'all real quick. Prophecy in Hebrew, shaboom. Or prophecy. He just gave me the Hebrew word. Prophecy Hebrew definition. Let's let that load real quick. Boom. It means to bubble forth, to gush, or to speak forth, to speak from God. It means to speak forth God's message, often in a state of spiritual ecstasy or inward stirring, rather than just foretelling the future. Facts. All right. Um, how does biolocation feel like? Can you pay attention? Out of body, yeah, I could see through both perspectives. It feels I could choose to be looking through this one or this one. Trying to see through both is kind of weird. It's like I'll be seeing through one eyes, like I'll be seeing through like one part of myself, but I see the other one inside of my head. That's how it was for me. Recently, so as what we're saying that Jesus existed. Recently images have been popping into my head and I'm taken into it in place. Today I saw a scene with Obama. He was facing an angry crowd of people outside the building. What is happening? Probably hypnagogia. Hypnagogia is an in-between state where you're not fully asleep but not fully awake, and it's oftentimes the gateway to leave your body. That's a fact. Um, I had a crazy experience that I was a tall gray hybrid in red robes called Asha. Then I looked online and Asha's a deity and red robes represents truth and I have a tattoo with the word truth. That is fire, bro. That's wild. I'm not gonna lie, bro. I love when things like that happen. Um, let's see. There was one question I saw about Egypt and Britain. Oh yeah. Hey, I heard that ancient Egypt used to be a forest. People like Ryan Carper and Darius Jungle in the past. Yeah, yeah. I thought this was common. I guess it's not common. Yeah, Egypt was a lush forest location. Yeah, it had grass and forest and all that. It was very lush before, for a fact. Um, yeah. After death, can we choose to Can we choose not to come back, or does karma force us to come back? Yeah, you could choose not to karma. You can choose not to come back. What happens is people forget who they true. People forget that they have a choice because of their karma, or they just make a choice to come back because of their karma. Like if you die in a conscious way, you have a choice, pretty much. You know what I'm saying? That's a fact. Yeah. All right. It is getting pretty late, but I do have time for a few more questions. Let's see. Finding a tall white human. That's hilarious, bro. Yeah, there's a lot of astral warfare. I've definitely fought a lot of beings. Oh, let's talk about that. I did mention I was going. I said I was going to get to that about fighting celestial gods and overlords and supreme gods and stuff like that. Yeah, there was a point in my life where I was fighting different beings on the celestial hierarchy, and when fighting celestial gods, I had to act as like a titan. So like they're trying to keep a reality created. I'm trying to destroy it. Um, then vice versa. I'm fighting titans where I got to keep on creating. They got to keep on destroying. And it was really just about who had more control over the reality through their perspectives and their connections with the other energies and intelligence inside of it. For example, right? There was times where I'm fighting them and they would they would try to put me inside of false realities where like I literally see my Discord is Genie Dot, where I would literally see like my family being unalived and it was meant to like break my spirit and stuff like that. I had to break out of those realities. Um then I had to pretty much I had to interact with different people in the reality and make them think a certain kind of way. Like I was in like a higher form, so like I could like send thoughts to people and like make them work with me and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to think about the best way to say this episode because it's kind of like, for example, like I could be a higher being that's in a higher plane than the lower beings. I have to project my thoughts inside that person and set up experiences for them to get them more open to certain things. So I can literally see into their mind, right? And I can literally see what their beliefs are like, what they kind of expect to happen. Then I could look at other people inside their life and I could influence their thoughts and then make two people argue for it. Like if I'm trying to destroy something, I can make them argue, right? Now they had beef with each other, right? Now that they got beef, they're acting grumpy in their work locations. Now they're being mean to everybody else. Now everybody at the job is being mean. Now they spread that out everywhere else. And like it's just like a freaking virus that spreads where they all begin to destroy their own lives. Now, I wasn't doing this like to actual real people in real life. No. It was like training realities, you know what I'm saying? With like fake people, you know? With creation, I had to essentially get everybody on my like there was times where I'm in a reality where literally everybody's against me. And I would forget that I was actually training. Over time, it's like I would literally be like I might sleep for like 3 hours, but I'm in this reality for like 3 weeks. You know what I'm saying? And I literally had to wake up to who I was because first people are hate. If everyone doesn't like me, I'm trying to make them like me. They don't like me. At some point, I don't care, right? Then I realized, like, wait, I'm a divine being, and I became more aware of like who I was. Like, oh wait, I'm not even like I'm actually supposed to be doing something right now. So I was able to actually attain a higher like version of myself, and then do the same thing. Influence people to start liking me, right? I could turn people against each other, and then like let's say that there's one weak person, one strong person. I make the weak person piss off the strong person. Then I help the strong person make the weak person get out of here. Now the strong guy likes me. And it will kind of just spread like that. Then everybody likes me. Then we come together to make certain things, and then I win that game. Super, it's like 8D chess. Um, are there beings with superpowers like Sun Wukong? Yeah, for sure. There are. Um, yeah. Yeah, my Discord is Genie Dot. That's my Discord name. Then the Discord server, go to the links inside my description and my videos, you'll see it. Have you done or considered trans chilling on camera? No. I don't let big I could get downloads and stuff like that, but I'm not letting no big into this vessel. Heck no. Not coming this. I've done it before. There's actually one time I was actually on a call with me, my boy Layton, and I'll call the other one Othello, and I was actually letting beings inside of my body talk to them and stuff like that. That was a crazy night, bro. Crazy night. All right, I think okay. I'll be on for like 15 more minutes. That's gonna be 8:30 my time. What do you think about the twin flames on Earth? So, twin flames are a very misunderstood concept. Twin flames are essentially two people that have the same soul. Your soul is an individualized focal point of awareness, and the consciousness splits off into two different bodies. So, you guys are like the same awareness. And oftentimes they don't work out because the reason why your soul became two different people is because it wanted to have two separate experiences, which means that there's no point of y'all two coming together. Now, there are divine counterparts. These are souls that you're meant to be with inside of your journey, like the whole meant to be soulmates are just different souls that you made it with. You know what I'm saying? This could be past life friends, past life lovers. They don't have to be your partner inside this life, though. That's divine counterparts. They are supposed. Some people call them original pairs. You know, they're meant to essentially, be your like my girlfriend, right? Who's in the other room behind me. She might still be watching this. I don't know. That's my divine counterpart, right? We're meant to be, quote unquote, meant to be, right? Facts. That's a real thing. So were you in like some kind of training god or training ground? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was in like a imagine like a fake galaxy creation, kind of like that. Um, yeah, that's what I was doing with that. Let's see. Yeah, I answered that, but it's my flames. Let's see. Of course, I appreciate you for coming and watching and tuning in. For sure. For sure. Hmm. Don't really see any questions right now. Yeah. Thank you too. Yeah, stay hydrated, y'all. Facts. Got my water right here. Only drink distilled water. Y'all may be like, oh my God, that's gonna pull the chemicals out your body or the minerals out your body. Mineral water is not, man, they be messing. Should I even tell y'all? Distilled water is the most pure water possible. The water in your body your body has to literally distill water for you to actually use it. Mineral water is not what people. It's not that joint's not good for you, bro. It's not. I'm not saying do what I do, bro, but distilled water, bro. I've been drinking that joint for mad long, and I've been fine. In fact, I've went like weeks without eating before and actually gained muscle. You can feed off of life force energy around you. Some real spiritual immortality. I literally have a whole section on my YouTube called Spiritual Immortality, where I literally showed y'all that I could go days without eating and gain muscle. I had more protein, my muscle mass increased, didn't eat any food. Facts. So are you saying it's impossible to meet your twin flame? No, it's not impossible. Even if you meet your twin flame, would you know that it's you? You wouldn't always know. Some people do, some people don't. But yeah, you can meet them. You don't always know who they are though. Um, Synchronicities. What's up with that? Synchronicities. That's when pretty much. So when you see a synchronicity, your thoughts are aligning with reality. Essentially, you're seeing different signs that your thoughts are in alignment, right? Synchronicities aren't even inherently good. You might just be thinking about dogs a lot. Now you see dogs everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Actually, today, bro, I was watching a video, right? And there's one person like, yeah, bro, they're a liar. They're a liar. I look up at the TV that's paused because me and my girl watching a certain show together. She was doing something. I went on YouTube. I look up. The subtitle says liar. Like life just does stuff like that, bro. Your thoughts is align with the realities. That's why it's that dream stuff. Facts, bro. What is Generation Alpha? I don't know. What do I know about unicorns? I encountered a unicorn before that actually healed me. Um, Unicorns are very. I know they can open portals. They're really good healers. I know that some of them are connected with infinity in the sense of they can like pretty much take you to infinity, like or like they can help you to pretty much when you get into their energy. Instead of being like so close minded, it's like your mind just taps into infinite potential. That's a fact. Um, who has propagated this light? The person who embodied me to do this. Shout out to him. Um, yeah, unicorns. I know that they're really good healers. They're really good at opening portals. They help people to reality shift. Also, that's a thing. They're just overall really good magical beings. You changed your background. It's amazing. Thank you. The other one wasn't working. The other one kept on getting cut off, so I didn't like that. Have you ever met beings like Sun Wukong? Yeah, yeah. Celestials and Eternals. Yeah. Um, any favorite mudras? I don't really have any. I haven't used mudras in a little bit, to be honest. Unicorn content is very expansive. Yeah, it definitely is. It literally opens you up to literally infinite potential. I thought we already have infinite potential. Yeah, we do. Most people aren't open to it though. That's what I'm saying. Like if you're closed minded, you're not open to your infinite potential. A unicorn could open you up to that. You see what I'm saying? If people were always aware of their infinite potential, life wouldn't be how it is right now. If every single person was aware of their infinite potential, there would be no more victims. Facts. Um, what's a celestial? A celestial is a being that has embodied the fullness of their spirit. These are seven density beings. That's what celestial is from because you could define them in all kinds of ways, but how I'm using it, these are beings that have embodied the fullness of their spirit. They are fully embodied with their spirit, and they can draw power from their spirit. They are immortal. They have the power to create different realities, things of that nature. Yeah, we all can create realities, but they actually know how to do it. Um, are there repercussions for getting with multiple random women? It's I mean not like some morality. It's not like someone's like, oh, you were being promiscuous. Now we're gonna punish you. It's more just like you could break people's hearts, right? If you're just being an a hole with women, you hurt people, and then you're gonna hurt yourself because you hurt them. Even if you're not hurt right now, you're gonna essentially pass on, see who you hurt, and feel bad about that. Um, it can mess with your emotions. Like when you start to sleep with so many people, you become numb in that sense. You might get a certain disease, stuff like that. Yeah.
Well, I think somebody mentioned my name. This is Propagate This Light. How you doing there, Genie Dot? Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, this is the guy right here, bro. I appreciate you having me on here. This has been a great night so far.
Oh, for sure. Did you want to end it with anything more special?
um Shoot, what would you like me to talk about? What would you like me to talk about? 'Cause I could give y'all something. I just don't even know what to talk about right now.
Well, are you interested in coming back one of these days?
Oh yeah, for sure. Whenever you want me back, bro, I got you.
Okay, let's do it like that. Then we'll save it for later.
Perfect. All right, I'm gonna answer questions. Well, how about we end at 8:30 my time? That's cool.
Sounds good with me.
Perfect. 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 All right, I'm gonna keep on answering y'all until 8:30, and then we're gonna end it. I'm gonna give you guys a good little message about I'm saying, just I'm gonna go with a good message for sure. I got y'all, but yeah, this is a good question right here. Are mirrors portals in the astral and in real life? They don't head up sometimes. I don't know what that part is, but yeah, mirrors could be portals. Yeah, you can actually tap on a portal, then say, I want to go to this place. For me, like I'll hold on a mirror out of my body, say where I want to go, and then it starts becoming like liquid, and I can like move through it, and like I actually move through it, and I go to a certain place. Can we become celestial beings? You could become a celestial and way beyond that. Embody the fullness of your spirit, yes. Seventh dimensional, as in like not on the earth with us. Okay, density, the seventh dimensional. Okay, so yeah, when I say these are planes and densities, a density relates to consciousness. So a seventh density being is a being that is aware of up to seven planes of existence. Your eternal spirit exists on the seventh plane, hence why there's seventh density. They have fully embodied their spirit. Now, a seventh density being can live on any. They could be in any plane one through seven. I'm not saying that I mean, a lot of them live in the seventh plane, right? But seventh density just means that no matter where you are aware of up to seven planes of existence. That's what that means. So right now on Earth, they say, "Ooh, good thing I got that water. Don't get in dry." So right now, they're saying that humans are becoming fifth density, right? Fifth density relates to your soul, becoming aware of your soul. We're still on Earth, but we are having a higher consciousness. We are actually becoming aware of our soul. That's fifth density awareness while still being in the physical plane. How to manifest, align your thoughts and emotions, what you want to experience. Um, let's see. Is there a difference between OB and astral projection? No, there is not. Some people separate them. The separation people make is that pretty much astral projection is not like you're not as conscious as an OBE, but that's just uh less conscious OBE. Same with like dreaming, right? You can dream, not be that conscious, or be more lucid. Still a dream. You can leave your body and not be that conscious. Still out of body. It's all astral projection, right? Leaving your body is a form of astral projection. So is dreaming. Just that dreams, you're inside of your own astral space. You're not outside of your body, right? I have videos about that on my YouTube called Different Forms of Astral Projection. Facts. Mm. Um, let's see. What's your favorite way to enter Astra's OBE through dreams? I just become aware that I'm dreaming, and then the dream typically shuts down, and I just leave my body from there. I'll just be in the dream, like, oh, I'm dreaming. Shuts down. I'm in sleep paralysis, although I'm not paralyzed. See, sleep paralysis too. People think that you had to be paralyzed. No, you just haven't developed your etheric body. Once you develop your etheric body, you stop being paralyzed. You just get off the bed. You either get off the bed with your etheric body or you just leave your etheric body with your astral body. Can a person indulge in habits like smoking, drinking, overeating, but believe themselves in good health? No. Maybe, maybe. I'll say maybe, but typically no, because there are rules to this creation. There's certain rules. You know what I'm saying? Um, yeah, yeah, yeah. Isn't living in 3D astral projection? 3D means so do you mean like the third dimension? Because the third dimension is not even proper terminology. When scientists say that we live in the third dimension, they do not literally mean that we live in dimension number three. What they're saying is our space is composed of three dimensions: length, width, height, three dimensions. Now it's four, space time. They include space time now, right? So living in the physical plane is not astral projection. Now, if you mean the third density, having a third density awareness, which is what animals and lower evolved humans have, that's just them being aware of only imagery. Like animals kind of just see things and react, right? They don't think, right? Lower evolved humans just see things and react. They don't think. You know what I'm saying? Third density awareness deals with just only seeing shit. Ooh, only seeing stuff. I'm so sorry. Only seeing stuff and reacting to what you see. About the Minotaur, I never really encountered a Minotaur, so I don't know much about them to be honest. I know that they're real though. Um, have I read The Law of One? I do not like that book. It's not a good book. Um, I won't say it's not a good book. It's just not an accurate book. It's part of the deception actually. How do you make a portal out of body? Like if I don't have a window or a mirror, can water be? Yeah, you could use water. Any reflective surface. Um, you can actually do this with your hand and make a portal. You know, you can actually you can even find sticks outside, make a square, then use it as a portal. Although I recommend if you do the stick one, just be aware that when you tend to make portals on the floor, you tend to go down instead of going like higher in planes. So try to find like a straight on. I mean, if it's like you can still go higher even if you go down. It's just that your brain might say like, "Oh, I'm going down lower plane," but do this and try to make a portal with your hand like that. So are we 4D or 5D? It depends on you specifically. Um, Lower evolved humans that only act off how they see their third density. Beings that are actually able to think, right? Their fourth density. If you're aware of your soul, your fifth density. You see? Depends on you specifically. Most humans nowadays are fourth density though. They can at least be aware of their thoughts, even if they're not aware of their own soul. Good show, Stranger Things. I just watched that. I didn't like it as a kid. I thought it was lame. It's actually pretty fire. How can we summon a unicorn? Are there a go leave your body and ask for a unicorn to come to you? They might come to you. I want to do a 3-day call reading with you, Cass, in some time. I'll talk to Cash about that. I'll text him actually. Let's see what he does about that. What he wants to do about that. That might be hard. That might be a good session. Let's see. Okay, I have time for one more question. Some of us were aliens in our previous life and we reincarnated as humans to help humanity. Some people have said that their alien body is still in a spaceship. Is this true? I don't know. I've heard that too. I've heard that from people who are credible. So I think for some it probably is, to be honest. I wouldn't doubt it. 'Cause I know that you could freeze bodies. There's bodies frozen in Antarctica. You know what I'm saying? Original angels. Is imagination a dimension? Dimensions, once again, are measurable extents of some kind. Length, width, height, time, space, like that's a dimension. Your imagination is tied to your astral body. It's more of like an inner plane. It's a certain body, to be more specific. It's a part of your mind that's linked to the astral body. All right. Well, Abraham Hicks supposed to be live as long. Yeah, you can live as long as we believe it's okay. Um, but okay, so if you start believing in being healthy, you start doing healthier things. You know what I'm saying? Like, because you can live a long time off of your belief, but if you believe that you're gonna live for a long time, you start to change what you do because you act off of that belief. If you believe that you're healthy, you start to act in a healthy way. That's like the finesse. Is Akuna Kuzi your real name in the other side? Akuna Kuzi is a soul aspect of myself. All right, it has hit 8:30 and it is about time to wrap this up, but I will do this again with Propagate This Light. You guys heard it, so it's gonna be lit. Um, go to my YouTube and stuff like that, all kinds of videos. It's been a pretty dope live stream. It's been 2 hours. So yeah, I hope you guys really enjoyed that. Definitely. Oh, also I'll say join the Discord, right? Because at some point I will also do a Q&A inside there if you guys want to ask more questions. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got for today. Time for me to go hang out with my girlfriend. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. Yeah, you. Thank you all. Appreciate you.